I've been praying to God to cover him, to shield him for me. Here we are today. Nigeria has happened to me.
Does the military have a right to take up someone to kidnap somebody? So I think we need to be able to take the military as an institution to court for it. This is dehumanizing.
Anything is not properly done, we will shut down this Abuja and the Federation on behalf of justice.
Weren't we advocating for money, more money being given? Is this the military we advocate for that can just take citizens and take them out of the out of public land like that?
It could be anybody.
Also know that lawyers are making effort to file for. I don't like the idea of filing for bail when somebody has not committed an offense.
Change the narrative all of a sudden. In fact, before leaving the house, my wife was telling me that the army will change the whole narrative. This person we are talking about is the person that is passing out next month.
Kidnapping, the abduction, and the forced disappearance, and the filing of an incompetent and bogus charge against him by state actors must stop.
Yes. Hello everybody, welcome back to Plan B TV News, Gist and Blog. This is Abdulrahman family. Abdulrahman family are crying profusely. You know, Nigerian soldiers are fond of lying. They arrested Justice Clark simply because he exposed them. But meanwhile, the whole case that led to these whole issues is what we are going to talk about because this is an update. We have a lot to discuss today, but before we start, I want you guys to listen to what the human rights lawyer, Barrister Marsha, said in all of this after he met with the Attorney General of Federation today. I want you guys to watch this video with me. We'll be right back.
And then there was a common ground that no Nigerian citizen who has helped in exposing corruption and wrongdoing should be penalized for such a patriotic war. The minister agreed that where a Nigerian citizen is being detained and or tortured for exposing corruption and ills in governance, such a person is entitled to justice by the Nigerians. Yes. So he has graciously agreed that he is looking into the expeditious release of our comrade Justice Clark.
People's power.
We impressed it upon him that Nigerian people are agitated.
Yes.
And the era of having people in government trample on our rights without due regard to the dictates of justice is over. He also agreed with us that this matter should be resolved expeditiously as quickly as possible, and the young man should be allowed to go back to his wife and children as soon as possible.
Revolution!
Inform him that we want that to be this week. And he has shown his commitment to seeing that all charges against Comrade
Justice Clark
Chidebere is discontinued.
Yes. Bam! People's power.
He's promised to get back to us, hopefully today or tomorrow. Justice Clark is not a criminal.
Yes. Revolution!
Justice Clark has committed no offense.
Yes.
The kidnapping, the abduction, and the forced disappearance of Justice Clark, and the filing of an incompetent and bogus charge against him by state actors must stop.
Yes.
It must end. Yes. And Justice Clark must be released, compensated.
Yes. Compensated, yes.
It is so sad that in this country today, the state actors are only interested in harassing and guarding patriotic citizens who only carries out their responsibility of exposing corruption and ills in governance. That must stop.
Exactly.
Comrade President Shehu informed him and advised that on no account should he allow his office to be used by oppressors to gag Nigerian citizens. And he has agreed, he did agree that that should not be the case. Other cases like that of Comrade Agogo in Delta State were also raised, and several other issues that are in the front corner of national business. He has also shown his commitment to seeing that this case.
How many of you remember this particular video when they soldiers sent some delegates to Abdulrahman family house? When they got there, they later found out that the house was a fence. And in their own narrative, they said a flying bullet. But unfortunately, they say even the house when these people, they don't be front house, not backyard. So how did gone from outside, follow backyard, can't do like this, can't go hit them? And I want you guys to watch what the family said to them, that they should retract those words. They said that it was a flying bullet. They should admit that it was a deliberate execution, and I want you guys to watch it.
Let's kick off what's trending with outrage and calls for investigation from the family of a 24-year-old youth corper, Abdulsamad Jamiu, who was killed during a shooting at Shagari Estate in Abuja. Now, in a new video, his family is seen confronting the Nigerian army on Monday, telling them to take back their official statement that Jamiu's tragic killing was due to a stray bullet. In the video, his family is visibly upset with the military for publicly stating that their son was caught in the crossfire of troops responding to armed robbers. Let's watch.
It's unheard of for that, for unarmed human being. You shot it. We are even trying to manage the situation. You now go out there and put up a publication. Do you know how many social media and various media houses that publish the same nonsense we put up yesterday? Change the narrative all of a sudden. In fact, before leaving the house, my wife was telling me that the army will change the whole narrative. This person we are talking about is the person that is passing out next month. Next month.
Now for background, Jamiu, who was set to pass out from NYSC just next month, was suddenly killed on Saturday while watching over his younger siblings while their parents were away. Now, the army had said that when they arrived at the scene, they came under gunfire from robbers, and that's what led to Jamiu's killing. But the family maintains that there was no exchange of fire and that Abdulsamad was shot inside his room. Now, the family shared videos of the aftermath. Viewers' discretion is advised. Let's take a look.
I've been praying to God to cover him, to shield him for me. Here we are today. Nigeria has happened to me. Look
at the door. I think the bullet passed through the place. This is the second bullet. Look at the blood. This was the one that passed through that door.
The family is now calling for an independent investigation outside the military control. And before I come to you, I'll just take some quick reactions from X. Kate says, how many armed robbers eventually got shot or caught? Why are innocent civilians always getting caught in the crossfire during such responses? It's to tell his family sorry now, right? How will sorry fix this permanent pain for them? Then Cole said, in a real country where justice is served, this house should be sealed for investigation. Occupants provided temporary accommodation. Forensic units should be on the ground and eyewitness interrogations conducted. But this is Nigeria, where insanity is the order of the day. And I'll leave you with that because I think there was once a time that Rufai, you actually made these kind of similar comments that, you know, when something happens, it should be sealed off. People shouldn't get in.
Every crime scene leaves a trail.
Exactly.
That's the essence of forensics. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How can you comb up a trail? But you see, we have a structural defect. And the defect is so big that you can never see forensics investigations and bungle interest matters. Mm. It took the family to come out to say, no, the side of the story of the military was not true. Because they had put out a narrative. So it becomes a narrative war. And see, I have dealt with a lot of cases like this, where you have to amplify the lots of people that feel down and weak in society. They try to twist the narrative, and when they twist it, nothing is done. The second question we should ask is, can we even have an autopsy on that body? I don't know. I know based on the Lagos coroner's law, if people die in extraneous circumstances, the state has an autopsy. I don't know what it is like in Abuja. Yeah. Secondly, then even when you go to court, how is this going to continue? What's the case going to be like? Who is going to come out of this? Are they just going to tell the family members to go like that? You see, in the end, there's so much injustices that happen. And that's why sometimes you wonder what is going on in Nigeria.
Right.
This case of this mother crying reminds me of the case of the mother in Jos that was crying, clutching onto her dead son. And that's what Nigeria has become. And when we say Nigeria happened, they'll say, oh, don't say that. Right. I don't want to say that, but the question we should ask is, it was because this man was in Nigeria, and there's a level of anyhowness, this happened.
Right.
So please, We want an independent forensic investigation, also an autopsy to be conducted.
Absolutely.
We even want the extraction of the bullet, so we even see the kind of military cadre bullets. Or let's even see if it's a military cadre bullet. Then if the military is found complicit, would they take responsibility? Would they even pay reparation? I'm not saying they are found complicit, though. In a case, then the last stroke is, how can we better manage this? A case of armed robbery should not lead to a loss of life of individuals.
Right.
You listening to what the family said. This draws us to the next episode of this whole story. He was arrested simply because he made publication to call out the Nigerian soldier regarding to this case, and as well also said that the Nigerian soldiers are not well fed. Maybe probably that's because of the reason they are doing all this kind of illegal duty to have extra money, and that sparked a whole lot of misreaction between the security agency and the good meaning Nigerian that led to the abduction, no, to the kidnapping of Justice Crack. Now, I want you guys to watch what Idris said in this particular video when he said that it does not change anything regarding to all of these things that they abducted him for. Anyway, I just want you guys to watch this video. We'll be right back.
If Justice Crack had not put out this video, would that have changed the objective living condition of the soldiers in the front line? The fact that this food is now in public, does it mean that this was not the food they were eating before? If this is the food they were eating, does it not make sense that they should immediately be improving on the ration they give to our soldiers on the front line? And if we want to even take it a step further, between exposing this video to the public of the food that our frontline soldiers are having and the people who gave the frontline soldiers this kind of food to eat, who is more compromising of national security? In my own objective assessment, the people who were given the resources, because we know resources are provided for this. We love our military. Let us put it on record, because there is a narrative trying to fly around that this might be an onslaught or a ploy to discredit the military. We love our military. We love our men and women on uniform. They are doing an excellent job, even with the bare minimum of resources. But things as basic as food should be given to our frontline troops. And if they are not given the proper food, it is not the fault of the person reporting the quality of food. It is the fault of the person who has not given them proper food in the first place. And that is the person who ought to be arrested, investigated for not giving our frontline troops the proper food they need. I think the military police by now, the military intelligence by now, should be investigating how come the food that gets to our frontline troops is of this kind of quality, instead of arresting an innocent man. You look at the resources, it shows where the priorities of our law enforcement and sometimes our military, in fact, military intelligence. Let me not use the whole military because I know the infantry and the rest of the military are doing their job, but military intelligence shows where their priorities lie. Instead of everyday people are kidnapped in this country, deploying that technology to arrest this situation, deploying that technology to investigate the quality of life of the military in the front line, you are deploying it to arrest someone who has put out a TikTok video. How can a TikTok video probably, amount to a threat? And even when you picked him up, did you see anything that was untoward? From their speech yesterday, they did not tell us that he had any terroristic tendencies. They did not tell us that he had any treasonable tendencies. You only said that it was capable of demoralizing troops. It was capable of causing discontent. You that gave them food that is not good to eat, and the person that reported it, who is capable of creating demoralization in the frontline troops? That is the question I want us to answer.
See, is either they are trying to cover up something, or we don't know. I don't just think it's because of what he posted that make them to arrest him. That's why when I watched this particular video of VDM, he kind of teleports himself into my mind to believe or to say what was on my mind. Is it because Justice Crack have been, campaigning for Peter Obi regularly, 24 hours, talking things about Peter Obi to appraise him and talking down on Bola Ahmed Tinubu? When you are talking about politics, they will be looking for one thing to cramp you down, the way they cramp all the city boys down. But I want you guys to listen to this particular video of VDM, what he said in this video regarding to Justice Crack being arrested or abducted. We'll be right back.
Justice Crack is associated with the ADC people. He goes to their campaign, he covers their campaign, he shows them support. Could it be that they are trying to pin terrorism on him because of his support to the ADC? Doesn't even make any sense. Why would they want to do that? Could it be that they want to paint treason? Because this country, they're very, very funny. They can come out tomorrow and say that there was a chat between Justice Crack and the military, that him and that soldier, they were planning to take over Nigeria. Bro, this country is crazy. They can come out to say that tomorrow. I swear to God. It's not far from what these people can do, you know. No, but I think that would be to the extreme, because I can vouch for Justice Crack. I know the guy. And I know I'm well. Because when something happened to him brother, and I mean come meet, and I mean go up and down, make sure say they take care of him brother, and they compensated them. I think they compensated them with like 15 million. As a matter of fact, when he came back to the office, he didn't have a phone. So his Samsung phone, the flip, I gave it to him. So I know him. He's not somebody that have mine. Do you know why I'm saying this? Just in case. Because anything I make that guy deal with DSS, they won't definitely put something. Treason, I had it. You know, these days they talk about treason too much. They don't carry some military men, their wives, don't they cry up and down for court. They carry some of them, even some civilians were also arrested and they were charged to court for treason. You know, say election they come. As election they come like this, anybody where they feel say okay, they go on, but it doesn't make sense. Justice Craig. You see they happen like this. This thing they look like a small thing, but now while they talk, it only be like big thing for my head. Could it be that they found a chat between that particular soldier that was sending him that screenshot and him and Justice Craig? Could it be that maybe two of them they talk randomly? Maybe the soldier comes and say, "No worry, now Peter Obi go enter power. We dey here. If you know enter, all of us go march out."
Now you listen to the video, but I also want you guys to also listen to this particular video of Arise TV News on how Rufai Hussaini, Reuben Abati, and Adesua, on how all of them contributed regarding to the illegal abduction of this Nigerian, of Justice Crack. We'll be right back. I want you guys to watch it with me.
Now let's turn our attention to some issues concerning social justice. 5 days after he was declared missing, the Nigerian army over the weekend confirmed picking up blogger and activist Justice Mark Chidiebere, better known as Justice Crack, following a video he posted online, where he documented the alleged poor welfare of soldiers of the Nigerian army, showing videos of what he claimed to be their daily meal portions. The statement released by the army states in part, "While the matter is being investigated for breach of the armed forces' social media policy and an attempt to misinform the public, preliminary report reveals that the soldiers discussed a wide range of issues with Justice Chidiebere, who seemed to be inciting soldiers to create discontent within the system. An example was a chat bordering on subversion, which Chidiebere had with the soldiers. It's important to state that a situation where civilians cultivate vulnerable personnel towards acts of subversion has far-reaching implications on discipline and national security." A protest demanding Justice Crack's release has been scheduled for today, May 4th, in Abuja. However, concerns have, of course, been raised about the legality of the army picking up a civilian, and secondly, for detaining any individual for more than 48 hours without a court order. There's so many moving pieces to this. I'll begin with you, Dr. Abati. Very concerning developments, especially allegations of him being brutalized and battered.
Okay, there is a provision, Fundamental Human Rights Enforcement Procedures, 2009, which again reinforces Chapter 4 of the Constitution, Sections 35 and 36, which both talk about fair hearing. So when a person is accused of an offense, you cannot detain that person for more than 48 hours. You take the person to the nearest court within that jurisdiction. You explain the person's offense to him or her, and then the person is entitled to legal representation. Where you violate all of this, then of course there's a matter of fundamental human rights abuse. Now, in the case of Justice Crack, Chidiebere, you called him, you know, it will appear that detaining him for up to 5 days will amount to a violation of those sections of the law that I have quoted. And he has the right to insist on his fundamental human rights. And other groups can do it for him, either pro bono or by legal representation. And oftentimes in Nigeria, that has been a problem. persons are arrested and they are forgotten in detained persons' cells. Some people could be there for 3 years. There have been persons who have been there almost forever, and their rights are abused. If we speak about the rule of law, then of course that should be respected. Now, as to the main offense, again, this is part of the hazard of the media, whether it's a citizen journalist or it's just an influencer on social media or, you know, a mainstream professional journalist. This gentleman was said to have brought a matter to the fore via social media, and that's why the military had arrested him and detained him. Now, torture is even not allowed. You are not supposed to torture a person who has not been convicted, who has not been given a term of punishment by a properly constituted court of law. If that is investigated and found to be true and not just an ordinary allegation, then the military authorities will be very wrong in that regard to have tortured him. But the substantive issue is that this Justice Crack posted a video in which he was speaking more or less for aggrieved soldiers who said they were not being given good food, you know, and they were at the battlefront. I think it was you that brought this story originally to our attention. And we have said, look, these soldiers' welfare is important, both for the police and other uniformed agents and agencies of government, to feed them in a miserable manner, to offer them dog food, you know, would not be proper. The military authorities, I think they differentiated what they call RSA between what they feed people on the war front and what ordinarily is available to soldiers. But our own basic point is that welfare is important for those persons who have elected to defend the sovereignty of the country. But the military also has a rule. If you're an aggrieved officer or rank and file or whatever, you don't go under the armed forces rules to the social media. The appropriate process is for you to report to your superior officer or, you know, go through the bureaucratic process, not to go to social media. And it is in that regard that Justice Crack is being accused of trying to incite the troops to cause indiscipline, to cause rebellion among the troops, which again will be classified as incitement. And it's not just the troops that is accused of inciting, also the public, because we are legitimately concerned that, you know, soldiers should be well taken care of. But whatever it is, the rights of the persons, whether the soldiers who are, you know, liable under court martial, or the gentleman, Justice Crack, whom we are told has been transferred to the civil authorities, is that justice must be done. Yeah. This should not be a case of victimization. Fair hearing is a basic principle in any kind of allegation. But more importantly, we return to the original point we made here, that soldiers should be well fed.
Correct.
If a man says, I can die for the country, I can defend sovereignty, I mean, it will be an act of ingratitude not to feed those soldiers well, whatever the rules may say. And as for the all the parties involved, they should have their day in court.
Absolutely.
And, you know, they must get fair hearing and justice must be done. But we have to return to the point. You cannot be feeding repentant terrorists, giving them ashwebi and saying they have repented. And the people who are in the war front, the battlefront, they are the ones who have to be saying, oh, they don't eat good food. We give them good dog food. Fair is fair.
Yes, correct. Okay. Justice for justice. Yeah.
Because of the severity and importance of this, I can yield my right to speak in the next couple of topics. If this is the only thing I speak about today, please, can I be given the time to speak?
No, please, go ahead, Rufai. This is an important story.
In 2020, a serving major general was leading the troop on the war front, and they were deficient of materials. General Odeniyi made a video to show the deplorable state of supplies in the military. He was court-martialed, he was punished. But a serving general, passionate about the Nigeria, a patriot, had to make a video. Secondly, there's been another military officer, in fact, that has even left the military, that complained about the fact that they have to kit themselves and all of that. The question I would like to ask is, what did Justice Crack do that most military officers had not done or expressed before now? Thirdly, if you have something against the military officers that gave Justice Crack an information, can you go after the military officers, not Justice Crack, which you now claim that was trying to incite? That's your own part of the story. We have not heard Justice's side of the story. Then you've taken him up and you've beaten him. Does the military have a right to take up somebody, to kidnap somebody? No. So I think we need to be able to take the military as an institution to court for it. This is dehumanizing. Do they have the right to carry somebody on the street because they don't agree with you? The question I would like to ask is, if Justice Crack walked with over 100 bodyguards, American military with about 100 soldiers, snipers and guns everywhere, could they have picked him up? Why did they pick him up? Because he was defenseless. And you took him in and you started to torture him. Wait, not even allegedly, Vimbai. Taking somebody against their will is torture. He was kidnapped. So that's torture. He's been tortured already. You know what it means psychologically? To take somebody away for 5 days? They can't have access to their family and all of that, and you issue a statement? Is that not torture? Can they do that to any of the military men that went to take him? Vimbai, I'm talking from experience. Because a journalist also wrote a story against the Minister of State for Defense, and he was taken in. It was me that he called, and I intervened. And I called people in government to ensure the guy gets out. Vimbai, this is getting too much in this country. We are not safe. We advocate for the military. When they have their case of mutiny, don't we speak up for them? We speak up for them. So why do this to a citizen? Because if they can do this to a citizen, that means it can be done to anybody. Oh, this we have the case with MK Abiola back in the days in this country.
That was the military era. When a civilian we should.
But how has it changed,
Yeah.
Ayo? How has it changed?
There should be a stark difference.
Just only the other day,
Okay.
people, like I said before, please, Ayo, Vimbai, I yield my right to speak on other topics. If this is the only topic I want to speak on today, please let it be the case. So how has it changed? The other day, weren't we advocating for 3,000 naira pay ration? Weren't we advocating for more money being given? Is this the military we advocate for that can just take citizens and take them out of the out of public land like that?
It could be anybody.
Because it could be anybody tomorrow. So what country are we living in?
I understand the passion, because I think we all feel it, and that's why we brought the story, and that's why we're going to continue following up on it, and we're going to
And
continue
something must be done. And we must call out the chief, the defense chief, the military chief, CJ Musa. Please, you are the defense chief. Something must. This is not the military. You people tell us to help build when you say we should have interactions.
So, I mean, you can
This is not
see
the country we should build.
This is an issue that has got a lot of people deeply passionate and emotional. And
Minister of Defense.
Minister of Defense, yes. So he's overseas. He was also a top military officer before now.
Yeah.
This is not the country we should build. This is madness. We don't have a country. We don't have a country at all. This is madness.
Okay. Well, we're here, and we're going to do our part. We're going to continue to do our part.
We have our sister from Zimbabwe living here because we have a country.
Well, they say I am happy here, but they say Nigeria go better. So we'll continue to advocate for Nigeria to move forward. All right. Okay. We're going to, yes, it could be anybody, and that's the point. Yeah.
I'm talking this man.
Maybe totally valid.
Experiment.
Totally
Maybe they pick one of us here and take the person like that. Maybe we will be quiet like
fine.
this.
I understand. I understand. And a lot of people, like I said, this is a deeply concerning issue and something that we're all very passionate about.
Now, you listen to what the Arise TV News contributed. You listen to their own opinion and the points that they make. I want you guys to also watch Showore. Showore, on the other hand, said that if by Wednesday that Justice Crack is not released regarding to the agreement of the Attorney General Federation, when he said that he's not around, that's why he cannot just make a call to release Justice Crack, that he will be around on Wednesday. Him being around, he will have to assess the whole case. Now that he only hear from the masses, he also wants to hear from the military hand. And I want you guys to watch what Showore said regarding to this whole case. We'll be right back.
If by Wednesday anything is not properly done, we will shut down this Abuja and the Federation on behalf of justice. It's not about justice crack alone. It's about the fact that these people have been taking us for granted.
Absolutely.
And now they are passing us around their circle of impunity. So army will abduct you, they will take you to DSS, DSS will bring you to court. The reason the DSS decided to come to court is that they don't want him to file for his fundamental human rights. The moment you are tried, it is taken that they have done the appropriate thing. That's what they did to Nnamdi Kanu, abducted him. Normally, when you do extraordinary rendition, you can't even try somebody. But this is to justify the illegality of the abduction by the military, to mobilize massively for Wednesday. If we come to the ministry on Wednesday and the minister is still talking rubbish, we will just take it from there. Let's arrive as early as possible. But we also know that lawyers are making effort to file for bail. I don't like the idea of filing for bail when somebody has not committed an offense, because they also use that to prolong the detention of persons procedurally. He has not committed a crime, and I was disappointed. And I'm saying this is part of what we must do in this country. All these judges in the Federal High Court who accept to send Nigerians to the guillotine at the slightest opportunity, we must start listening to them and letting the world know that we don't need judges like that in our justice system. I was in court today and I saw what Justice Abdulmalik did, and I was appalled by it. The summary way he just dismissed the lawyer who was applying for bail, saying that, oh, you have to fight for bail a certain way. And when she even gave her ruling, she's like, we are returning.
Showore is planning protest. Everybody is just saying, oh, Showore wants protest. This is just revolution. Showore just want anything that will just destroy Nigeria. You know, Showore love protest. Showore is just one person, if he has that power, that magic to just make whole Nigeria go into revolution, he would have done it. He just wants it by every means. He believes that Nigeria needs a total reform. In other words, like, let's just gather all the bad leaders, you know, buy all of them, and let's start all over. And this is where him and VDM is having issue, because VDM said that before you buy, if you want to go revolution, you want to really buy those people. So what are the things that you have put in place? What are the things that you are planning that, okay, these people buy, who's going to be the president, who's going to be the vice, who's going to be the Senate president? What structures have you put in place to ensure that this kind of things, if you do it, people will not start fighting for power and say, oh, since they don't buy now, me will be a minister of justice, now me will be this one. So how are you going to make sure that you structure things before you go into revolution? This is the part that here VDM is having issue. Not that VDM is not trying to understand what he wants, but VDM is saying that before you choke your hands into that thing, you need to know how hurtful it's going to be. What if the revolution fails? What will be the consequences? You now, your family is abroad over there. You have a dual citizenship. You can easily fly out of the country. So what are the fates of those that you are going to carry along? Now, this also leads us to the response of the military personnel, Usman SK, when he came out to say that, oh, Justice Crack break the code of conduct, and said he said a lot of things on this Arise TV news, and I want you guys to watch it. We'll be right back.
First and foremost, I would like to sincerely appreciate you, the Arise Television, and of course, overwhelming Nigerians for showing concern about the welfare of troops. And if we will go back to the issue at hand in respect of remuneration in terms of feeding and other logistic, arrangement for the armed forces of Nigeria, in particular the Nigerian Army, of course, the Nigerian Air Force, because Chidivere made reference to, a soldier sending him photograph of their alleged feeding, as well as one airman. Now, the question is that, thankfully, both services have initiated investigation, and just like most insiders might have known, it is false, and there is an element of mischief. Let me start with the Nigerian Army. It may interest you to know, so far, preliminary investigation has shown the soldier in question deliberately doctored certain things. So, for instance, the quantity of food, he shared it into two and removed the meat. Right now, he's being questioned why, what is the motive behind it, and all the rest. And similarly, Air Force is going to. So, but the bottom line here is that there is enormous responsibility on the gatekeepers, in the media industry to always interrogate such things when they happen. Because I know in any given unit, there is also what they call food committee, and it is all encompassing. The officers and the soldiers are all part of the committee, determining the menu based on the availability of the resources in terms of feeding. So sometimes you have to be wary. And of course, I know when you are talking about Kwashiorkor, I was cringing when I heard you that the food being given to soldiers that is unfit for dogs. So I take exception to that word. I say, how? Doctor, why? I think we should look for a better word to describe members of the armed forces who are doing marvelous job in serving this nation. But having said that, the truth is that, sincerely speaking, now there is a renewed trend or kind of trend among soldiers wanting to be content creators. In fact, like the one that you are talking about, remuneration and all the rest, a lot of people do not even know that he was involved into one other mischievous thing or other criminal activity, trading in the army. Trading in the army is taking up another profession beyond the military profession, except, of course, legally you are only allowed to farm. But beyond that, you cannot take up any employment that fetches you money other than your salary. Yes, we will be talking about the issue of remuneration, of course, given vis-a-vis the security challenges and the involvement of Nigerian troops in internal security operation, counter-terrorism efforts, and all the rest. But interestingly, the operational allowances, right from the theater commander, if we talk of Northeast, Northwest, and of course, Udoka and the rest of them, Delta Safe, all of them are on the same amount of money. Right from the Major General up to the last rifleman, it is the same amount of feeding money they are being given. So the question now is for you to think, is it enough, given the prevailing circumstances? Not that maybe it is the general that fit fat that you are saying some of them have big tummy and all the rest of them. But you should know that there are generals who are just slimmer than even ID card, and I can mention quite a number of them. So it is not true. So this trend, I think they know some kind of responsibility on the part of gatekeepers. Whenever people come up with issues like that, it should be thoroughly investigated. Because when I saw that the soldier sent that in from Maiduguri where? Maiduguri is just a location, it's not a unit, for those people that know. But of course, when you are playing ombudsman or a whistleblower, that's the information you may not wish to disclose. But basically, there is need to interrogate. Then secondly, the issue is that when you have access to, verification means, it is always good to verify how it is. And I wish I have access to my phone. I can show you, that some units, they even have, water treatment plants. And of course, the number of cows, the number of chicken, it will make you to salivate. But of course, when you are facing existential threat like, Boko Haram attacks and all the rest, a serious-minded soldier will not even have the time to think along that way. Remember, I was at the theater 2014, 2015. That was when I was appointed acting director of Army Public Relations. You live by the minute, because right from the general officer commanding and all of us were always in our trenches. We hardly, even though I was a spokesman for the formation, I hardly have time for social media and all the rest of them. So sometimes when people come up with these issues, you also have to do a reverse check to ask questions. And there was even a time they were saying that the military should come up clean. I was one, for instance, that I was alleging of wrongdoing. So why wouldn't I turn up my payslip to show you that actually this is what I'm earning, rather than asking army to disclose, because there is that kind of confidential. A commander does not even have a hand in the payment of a soldier. The finance code does that. So there is a kind of check and balances, and these are the kind of things. And I'm so happy, particularly you, Dr. Abati, you were in charge with us for how many days, and you have seen what life is in the day of a soldier of the armed forces of Nigeria. And so these are the kind of things that should come into play whenever people come up with issues of that nature. But invariably, I'm not saying that the system is perfect, it's far from it, but certain things need to be questioned. And you see, these little things, to a large extent, they accumulate and demoralize our troops. And by the time the troops are demoralized, we won't have troops to fight the battle for us. And more so, we have myriads of security challenges in this country.
Okay.
Now you have watched the whole video, so I'll be waiting for you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts regarding to these whole issues that led to the arrest of Justice Crack? Remember, Justice Crack only said some few words. The thing when he talk, it really did not count for me that warrants this kind of human treatment that they are meted on him. You know, kidnapping. It takes a Nigerian to track his phone before Nigeria soldiers after 4 days to say, oh, you know, he was with us because he said this. And a lot of you watch our previous posts. If you have not watched it, go and watch it and watch what happened in the court. Anyway, I rest my case here. If there's any other update regarding to this whole issue, we'll be right back to give you guys. So if you're interested in it or other important information, please do well to subscribe. If you do, turn on your notification bell so that you wouldn't miss out our official uploads. Remember, I just saw this particular video that they have dismissed that officer that was involved. I don't know if it is him already, but they said the officer that complained about the welfare of Nigeria soldiers, they dismiss him and all of that. So it's kind of confusing that you are dismissing soldiers for complaining, and at the same time you are begging people to buy from. So you are telling these people that you need the recruitment, that you should come join soldier, so that hunger will buy them. But if anyone complain, you will dismiss them. So it doesn't make any sense to me, like the way Nigerian soldiers have been conducting their armed forces. Remember that these generals, all of them are buying more luxurious cars, buying expensive lands, you know, building estates. They are making money off these soldiers. The money that we are meant to feed these soldiers, one person, when they control this unit, will be eaten. And if you cry out, they call it treasonable felony. It's either they dismiss you, take you to guard room, they punish you. I don't know. So it is best advised, if you have a family person, me, I'm not trying to rebel against the military, but I'm saying, if you have your loved one, particularly from the southeast, I beg, tell them, may they don't buy Nigerian military from. The ones that are there already are crying. So they cannot just cry out. Secretly, they might cry to somebody. It's just like this guy messed up by saying that somebody sent him that message. You could have just said one or two things that, okay, I stumbled across this particular picture, that this is what soldiers are, you know, something like that. But anyway, we'll arrest my case until we meet again. Peace out.
I followed both reports, the report of the armed forces and the family's counter-narrative. So basically, we can see that there is a gap in both narratives. While the soldiers believed that they were chasing an armed robber and there was a crossfire, the family is saying that that is not true. So we are currently engaging with the family. On our part, we intend to conduct some internal verifications to see within those gaps which one is the most likely that occurred. And I can assure you that whoever is found to have been culpable, acted beyond his mandate, will be held accountable, and at the appropriate time will convey it to the Nigerian public. So bear with us while we try to find out what really occurred. I've seen both narratives. Thank you very much. It's warfare. Let us look at the positives, what we are gaining. Definitely there will be losses. That's the fact. But let us look at the bigger picture. Are we winning overall? We think so. Are we losing some people? We acknowledge that. You know, so thank you. Yeah.